Would you believe me if I told you I would never, ever confess to something I didn't do?
I believe that you believe that, yes. That's what everybody says.
But it's not what everybody does, says Saul Casson, who has researched false confessions for over 30 years. He calls confessions the gold standard of criminal evidence.
Legal scholars in the U.S. have recognized that when you have a confession, you're basically going to get a conviction at trial. People have assumed confession evidence to be not quite infallible, but potent, and close to infallible.
Among the most memorable false confessions, the 1989 Central Park 5 case.
This is my first rape.
Teens who, after hours of interrogation by police, confessed on videotape to the beating and rape of a female jogger.
What was she saying?
It's like saying stop.
When you're in that position, in those four walls, in that room, and you're with seasoned detectives, poised, celebrated, been working for 10 to 25 years, the top of the class.
I kept telling the truth for a long time. I started lying because of my father. He told me to tell the officers what they want to hear.
Their convictions were vacated in 2002 based on DNA evidence and the confession of a previously convicted rapist. The Innocence Project says 28% of exonerations achieved through DNA evidence involved defendants who made false confessions, and almost half of them were under 21 years old.
When you start looking at false confession cases, you're looking at interrogations that last 6 hours, 8 hours, 10, 12, 20 hours. People have a breaking point, and time breaks people down. Time brings with it fatigue, a deprivation of certain need states.
There's a time-tested theory of interrogation that you put psychological pressure.
Yes.
What does that look like?
The goal is typically to apply a type of pressure in which you bring a suspect in and you, first out of the gate, confront that suspect with the reality as you know it to be of their guilt. And you don't even allow them to deny or protest their innocence. You just plow over their denials and their objections. And the goal here is to convince that person that you know they did it and you have evidence of their guilt. And that confuses innocent people.
And oh, by the way, the detective can lie to the defendant legally.
In the United States, a detective can legally lie about the evidence to a suspect.
No food. They kept repeating the same questions over and over again. Now, they did wear me down.
In 1989, Jeffrey Deskovic was 16 when he was questioned by Peekskill, New York police about the murder and rape of a classmate. Hungry and alone for hours with detectives who forcefully interrogated him and made what he says were false promises of freedom, Deskovic says he grabbed what he thought was a lifeline.
Then he added that if I did as they wanted, that they would stop what they're doing, I could go home afterwards. Being desperate to get out of there, I latched onto that false promise and I made up a story based on the information which they gave me in the course of the interrogation.
He was convicted and spent 16 years in prison before he was exonerated in 2006 based on a re-examination of DNA evidence. A 2007 report on Deskovic's case commissioned by the Westchester County, New York DA's office pointed out that adolescents are at a higher risk for confessing to a crime they did not commit, and also called out detectives for selective recording of Deskovic's statements. His interrogation and confession were not videotaped.
Everything in basic psychology and research suggests that if there is a camera present in the room, detectives will likely dial down the use of certain tactics that they know judges and juries won't like when they see it.
Today, Deskovic fights for the wrongfully convicted through his foundation and is on his way to becoming a lawyer. His story, a reminder that not all confessions are what they seem.
I just wanted to go home. I just wanted them to stop. I just wanted to get out of there.